Segment and angle measurement. Well, the first thing in this is actually 1.5 in the Bob Jones book. But remember, if you just have a number line, we'll just do standard. And if it said graph 1, you would literally dot at 1. If it said state the coordinate of A, -2. And of course you can do fractions and such, but that's it for that. Now let's say you wanted the distance from A to D, which distance, when you see it, it's just the 2 letters but with nothing up above it, just notation. But if you wanted to find AD, or the distance between A and D, well, on a number line, you could literally just count 1, 2, 3. The distance is 3. If they give you the numbers, like the distance between 7 and 12, all you have to do is subtract high minus low, or bigger minus smaller. So 12 minus 7, 5. Even if I had something like -8 and 20, high minus low, 28. So that's it for that. Now remember the other day that if I were to say B is between A and C, it literally is between it. We can't say it's in the middle, but it's just somewhere in between. Now, however, if I did say B is the midpoint of AC, in other words, B is cutting AC in half. If I were to say AB is 3, BC would be 3. And if I said AC, or the whole thing, if this is 3 and this is 3, then the whole thing is 6. You could always reverse it, and let's say if I said AC is 10. If the whole thing is 10 and B is the midpoint, and that mark just means they equal, it's called a tick mark. If the whole thing is 10, and if I said find AB, which is just half of it, 5. So now to the good stuff. If you want to measure angles, or let's come back to it, because actually I need to go get a protractor. But let's say that you had, like they give you a segment. I'll just say PQR. If PQ is 5 and QR is 7, how could you find PR? And of course, you just add it together. So 5 plus 7, 12. Just like if they gave you the whole thing and part of it, then you could subtract. Like if PR is 17 and QR is 10, then that means PQ. So if the whole thing is 17, this part's 10, then you can subtract, and it's 7. Could also do it as far as solving for variables. If let's say some arbitrary EFG let's say EF is x plus 7. FG is 2x plus 2. And let's say I tell you EG is 30. Well, you can make an equation out of it, because if this is x plus 7, this is 2x plus 2, and the whole thing is 30, guess what kind of equation you can do? Literally just add them together. So x plus 7 plus 2x plus 2 equals 30. 3x plus 9 equals 30. Subtract the 9, 3x equals 21, x is 7. Now, if I just want to know what x is, you're done. Let's say instead of just finding x, I wanted to know, well, what is EF? Well, if EF was x plus 7, then 7 plus 7, when you substitute it in there, 14. Just like, let's say, if I had wanted FG. 2, x is 7, so 2 times 7 plus 2, 14 and 2, 16. So in geometry, a lot of what we'll be doing is solving for x and then plugging it back in. Now, let's say they told you CDE that D is the midpoint of CE. So if it is the middle, they do equal. So if you had this CD is 2x and DE is x plus 10, and you wanted to, let's say, find CD. Well, first you can find x, because if this is the midpoint of CE, then D is cutting in half. So 2x equals x plus 10. Subtract the x. X equals 10. And don't forget, you're not done. You have to plug it back in. So if you want to find CD, which is 2x, 2 times 10, 20. Now, last but not least, you can also do this same thing with angles. Let's see. I'll just do rough sketch. Okay, let's say angle 1 is 50. Angle 2 is 38. So if I said find XYA, well, if 1 is 50 degrees and 2 is 38, notice how XYA is just those two put together. So you're going to add them, 88. Let's say instead I might give you BYZ is 100. Let's say angle 2 is 70, find angle 3. Well, if the whole thing is 100, BYZ, and if this side is 70, then that means this side, 100 minus 70, 30. And of course, just like with anything, you could do as far as, let's say that I said that angle 1 equals angle 2. So if angle 1 is 3x plus 11, and angle 2 is 2x plus 28, and if I said find x or solve for x, if you know they equal, literally you're going to set them equal. Subtract the 2x over x, subtract the 11, 17. X is 17. If they wanted you to find a particular angle, let's say if you plugged it in, 34 plus 28, 62. So that's some of the things that you'll be encountering on this section. As far as measuring angle with a protractor, I apologize. It is, my protractor is, let me look, super fast. I will light. I put one in my bag. Yes. Thank you, God. Because I wanted to show y'all this, but mine here at the house is, to be honest, it's underneath the bed, and it's late, and I didn't want to wake anybody up. So thankfully, I have this one. So we'll say, I don't know, PQ. I will maybe throw one in here somewhere. T. So let's say I want to measure W. Let's say I want to measure PWQ. So PWQ. Well, you're going to line the protractor up. Notice how the center is there the best I can, and the line is through there. So PWQ is right about, if you look, there's two numbers here. And remember the way you tell which one to look at? This is an acute angle, or less than 90, so the smaller one. So between 20 and 30, but it's actually right under 30, so we'll say about 28, 29. Let's go for another one. What about if I said QWT? Notice how it's this obtuse angle, so it's going to be the one that is greater than 90. So it's going to be the 150. So between 150 and 160, and it's right up above 151. Now let's go from the other side. Let's say SWT. Same thing, line it up. It's an acute angle, so between the smaller two, 40 and 50, looks like it's right at 45. So let's say, though, it's one in the middle. Let's say we wanted QWS. It's slightly greater than 90, but this one right here. The easiest way, rather than subtract it, is to line it up. Just do it sideways. So we said it was an obtuse angle, so that means larger ones, and it's right under 110, so we'll estimate and say 108. So that's how you do a protractor. Literally line the dot up. On this particular one, you do your ends, or one end of the angle on those, and then just look to see, is it acute, is it obtuse? So that way you know to look at the smaller or the larger. Hope this was of help to you. Have a great night.